Hello, class, and welcome to chapter one. Even though it started off, pretty light this week, but again, want to kind of give you an overview of the whole idea behind compensation and total rewards. Kind of the reason, not just for taking this class, but what is this all about? Essentially, what are we going to be learning this semester? So, chapter one about the pay model, and really, it is like most chapter ones are an introduction to kind of the whole class. Obviously, this class matters, for a multitude of reasons. But why I think the compensation and benefits discussions are so relevant is because no matter what you do with your career, whether you go into human resources and compensation as a career or anything else that you choose, a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, a teacher, no matter what career field you go into, compensation matters. Very few people, work just for the sake of working, just because they're bored and don't want to do anything else, and most of those, you just, obviously volunteer, but the vast majority of us work for kind of two reasons. One, we need to get money, which is compensation, and we need benefits. We need health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, retirement income. So that's the total rewards that we're going to be discussing this semester. So no matter what you end up doing with your career, these discussions matter as a result. So, and even if you're not necessarily working on these on a daily basis, you could be a manager, a leader of others, and you want to be able to reward your employees with better pay and different and better health insurance and things along those lines and other benefits. So it is a really valuable skill set to learn about compensation and benefits. And that's why, first of all, thank you for enrolling in this course. But most importantly, I think you'll understand by the end of the semester that everything that we discuss will be relevant for you in your career. So, so you hear this term compensation, and it's essentially just the stuff that we get for that our employment relationship gives us, cash, health insurance, everything I've just talked about. So, but compensation is just the total amount of everything that we get when we sign up to work for an employer. So, and not just the reasons that we work. Obviously, as I just mentioned, there's reasons that we work, and that's the whole idea behind total compensation. But, there's also this other aspect, that we call relational returns. And, these are kind of the more psychological aspects of why we work, the personal growth, the happiness, the camaraderie we get with our coworkers, the feeling of being a leader of others, about, if your organization is really into, social responsibility and social justice and all these other wonderful things, the feeling that you get from doing good for the environment, doing good for society at large, those all really matter to us. Obviously, there's a million jobs out there where you can go and simply get a pay and benefits, but so many of us strive for more than a job. We want a long-term career, and these careers what give us these relational returns, work-life balance, so we can have a career but also have a family and spend time with our friends and travel and do all the extracurricular activities that we enjoy doing. So there is a balance between the pure financial and benefit side versus this relational returns, and we'll kind of talk about that balance throughout the semester. And in your book, on exhibit 1.5 in chapter 1, it's called Total Returns for Work. And I think this kind of, it's a bunch of little bubbles, and it tells you how everything relates to each other for, total compensation versus more of this work-life balance. I think that chart does a really good job of explaining the different aspects that go into it. Because again, we don't want to think solely in terms of monetary compensation and pure numbers. Now, obviously, a lot of this class will be some of those aspects. But as we get further along in the semester, I really want to emphasize the other side of compensation and benefits, which is about this kind of more work-life balance aspect. So, and there's going to be a lot of different topics that we cover. Chapter 1 does kind of, briefly mention this whole idea of, are you a salaried employee versus an hourly employee? You've probably heard the terms I'm exempt or I'm non-exempt, and that basically means whether or not you're eligible to get overtime as part of your work. As a general rule, if you get paid on an hourly basis, you generally, if you work more than 40 hours in a week, are eligible to receive overtime. If you're a salaried employee, generally you're not able to earn benefit pay overtime pay if you work more than 40 hours. But that's just one example of of how the law can affect how we view compensation and benefits, and we're going to talk about that as we go throughout the semester. So these, a lot of the questions that you may have about, how does my pay and how do these things relate to each other? And I've heard all these financial and and pay terms. What do they mean? My goal is to help, not just help you understand them, but help you apply them to your own life as we move forward. So, and obviously, whenever, whatever organization you end up in, or whatever career field you end up in, obviously, I think for most of us, we want to make more money as time goes on. We want to have higher positions, So we look at things like internal alignment. Are we getting paid comparably to the people that we work with? If we all work in a similar type job, is one person getting paid significantly more than another person? And if they have this kind of the same background and the same education, where's the fairness and where's the equity in that? We're going to talk a lot about fairness and equity this semester as it relates to internal alignment. And then kind of the opposite is, from external constituencies and competitiveness. If we are making less here, can we go to another organization and make more money there? How do our competitors use salary and benefits to woo us maybe to go to another organization? And how does our own organization keep us happy internally? So we're going to look at those factors about how do we keep happy internally versus how do we respond to external, competitiveness in the market. So that's just good. So chapter 1's a good kind of summary of how the semester is going to go. So, I'm really excited that you're in this class. I think you'll really learn a lot and it'll be a great semester. So thanks so much, and I'll see you again for chapter 2.